lots of clouds today as well. It seems like there's a lot of people outside doing things like protests. And with that thought, actually, what did I read today? Some of it actually related to protesters, but this one, apparently they're using drones and they're being confiscated, I guess you could say. This one says, drones seized by police as Just Stop Oil protesters hit the open. So apparently they're targeting sporting events, as it says here, greenkeeping staff were dispatched to the hole and removed the powdered paint with leaf blowers. The environmental group have targeted a number of high-profile sporting events this summer, including the second Ashes Test at Lord's, where England wicketkeeper Johnny Bairstow physically manhandled one pitch invader to the boundary, and Wimbledon, where 3 people ran onto the court throwing orange paper and jigsaw pieces. And I guess with that, they apparently used a drone as the assumption, or it was just someone else flying it. Because it says here from the police, we were made aware of a drone being flown in the restricted airspace, and officers were able to locate the operator and subsequently seize the drone and remind them of the restrictions. So you would assume there, if it was the protester, then they were just confiscated because they arrested the protester too, right? It's kind of funny here, it's restricted airspace they say, and all they did was give him a warning. And what was the warning? It says, quote, if you commit an offense and fly a drone within a restricted area without permission, your equipment may be seized and you may render yourself liable to prosecution, he said. It makes you wonder if more protesters will use their own drones, and will that be an excuse to ban all drones per se, and things like protests from people like media as an example. And with that subject of drone laws, this was kind of interesting, where this kind of implies the reason why people, let's just say, do bad things with drones or whatever is because there's no laws for it, so you need to create them. This says, drone apart. In the absence of specific laws to regulate the use of drones, the technology is being employed in various ways. Drug peddlers seem to have found a new smart way to get around via drones. Recently, a large drone carrying 6 kilograms of heroin crashed in an open field in Halaki, an area close to the Indian border. The drone was recovered by Rasalpura village in Kana. The dwellers of the area were the first to spot the drone and informed the police, which reached the spot along with the rangers, considering the sensitivity of the issue. The police seized the drone and drugs before handing these over to the anti-narcotics force for further investigation. So they then go on to talk about how others have done this as well. I would think it would be kind of common sense. Criminals try to use anything, right? But again, it seemed like they kind of implied it's because there's no laws on this stuff. Maybe that encourages people to use it. Because it says here it may be relevant to understand that there are no specific laws on the use of drones for smuggling, drug peddling. Also, when it comes to dealing with easy availability of banned substances such as marijuana, heroin, and crystal methamphetamine, the police seem to lack control. Speaking to the TNS, SP Atap Fullerman says that the Cronin incident isn't the first of its kind. He says he does not find it surprising that drug peddlers are making use of drone technology. And then they even have quotes like this saying, they obviously think drones are safer compared to the conventional means. You can operate a drone from a distance and thus hope to escape arrest and avoid encounter with law enforcement agencies. But that's not the deal. And it makes me wonder here too, as a police officer, is there truly nothing you can do if someone's transporting goods with a drone? Goods as in drugs in this case. Are you telling me someone can actually do that? And if you catch them, you're like, oh, I guess there's no laws on drones, so you're free to go. Wouldn't that be not the case in any way? It doesn't matter what you're using to transport the item. If it's drugs or something like that and you catch them, you can basically apprehend it or something like that. That's what I don't get, actually. Because it makes me think of, remember that stakeholder session I recorded where Transport Canada is trying to, in a sense, say, oh, we need these drone laws, because one of it was something along the lines of they're afraid some yahoo is gonna fly a drone 2,000 feet in the air or something like that, crash into an airplane, so they need this stuff now. Again, I'm thinking in my mind, are you telling me, even without any regulations or laws specifically with drones, if someone were to intentionally fly it into an aircraft and say it crashed into it, caused people to die and all that, you're telling me you're gonna sit there and say, I guess we can't do anything. There's no laws about drones. I would think it'd be the same thing, isn't it? You'd basically be able to punish the person. Doesn't matter what they're using and so forth. They basically killed like a bunch of people. So it makes me think, like in this case, how do people have that mentality per se? Well, I guess because we don't have a law, criminals are gonna use it. They're gonna use it anyway. So you need more reasonable, in my opinion, regulations. The approach has to be actually about, quote, safety. And that SAG AFTRA strike is still going on, and it seems like AI is still actually a big topic with this. So this is kind of interesting when it comes to voice actors, because as I mentioned, it's not just, for example, people's face, for example, their images. It's more about in the future, the worry is they'll take your voice and then afterwards they can manipulate it for, let's just say, hundreds of different projects. This one says, voice actors decry AI at Comic-Con panel with SAG AFTRA's Duncan Crabtree Ireland. We've lost control over what our voice could say. The perils of artificial intelligence to the entertainment industry came to San Diego Comic-Con on Saturday, with SAG AFTRA National Executive Director Duncan Crabtree Ireland joining a panel of voice actors organized by NAVA, the National Association of Voice Actors, to discuss specific hazards AIs is already posing to the profession. And as mentioned here, saying, quote, as a human voice actor, I can walk into a room and get a script that says something that I didn't either agree to say or something that I would never say. I personally have that ability to walk out of the room. Friedlander said, with AI cloning the voices of actors, however, we've lost control over what our voice could possibly say, he said. Without referring to a movie by name, Crabtree Ireland likened the issue to a story of a small mermaid and sea witch that literally steal that mermaid's voice. As the audience laughed in recognition of Disney's Little Mermaid, Crabtree Ireland continued, I remember seeing that for the first time and thinking how horrifying it is that this sea witch steals the voice of this person and then uses it for whatever. That is exactly what we're talking about. I would think this goes beyond just entertainment, for example. Can you imagine in the future, because with that other story I read the other day, if you guys remember, where a car company used a deceased musician's face and all that to promote, I guess, their product. Imagine in the future with some kind of deceased celebrity, they're gonna use them for, I don't know, political sake, saying, I approve of this and that, do this. Imagine that in the future as well. But like this here, the concern is they can just get your voice or whatever once and then reuse it millions of times in other ways, just modify it. So who knows what will come of this or how long this will last. It does make me curious too what an average individual thinks about this versus someone who actually works in the industry. Because I know there's some people who says, oh, who cares or whatever, but when you think in the big picture, it affects so many other, I guess, industries and all that. another example of how easy it is to locate the drone operator if you really want to anyways. And I didn't need a drone or sophisticated equipment there. Alright, see you guys later.